The Hop Nation
USA Podcast.
Welcome to episode 155 of the Hop Nation USA Podcast. And we're here on our Zoom meeting with co-host Adam.
Of course, happy to be here.
And we have two returning guests on the same video window, Nikki and Eric.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, great to be here.
Welcome back. We're just kind of going through our guest roster and bringing people back as we feel, and anybody we feel like subjecting to the horror of Brews Brothers.
People we just want to, talk to again.
Right, that too.
Yeah,
that too. It's a good excuse to reconnect with people.
Yes. So we're cashing that one in.
Yeah. So, yes, of course, we'll be reviewing episode 6 of Brews Brothers in the second half of the show, but in the first half of the show, we'll be talking about a whole bunch of other things. I've got a big list of news. And also, I just wanted to talk to Nikki and Eric because they are part of the group of people who've been ordering beer to be delivered to their house. So
Yay, I love it.
Yeah. kind of want to hear a little bit more about that process because I haven't gone that far yet.
It's amazing.
It sounds like you're not going back.
I hope it continues for the, future because it's so great.
Yeah.
Let's hope. Let's hope.
So just to kind of go along with that, though, there's something else happening in PA with a new law that hopefully will just continue forever. Governor Wolf signed into law that we can now have to-go cocktails.
Which is fantastic.
I'm going to order so many margaritas to go now.
So to-go cocktails works as it's a minimum of 4 ounces or a maximum of 64 ounces. So you can get a half gallon of White Russian, I hope.
I'm going to have to start stocking up on my half-gallon milk jugs.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. What is the container going to be at these different places? I'm curious.
The hanger's doing margaritas and growlers.
Nice.
Margaritas and Long Island iced teas and growlers.
Nice.
Long Island iced teas and growlers?
Yeah, you can get a growler.
Be careful, Eric, because you might not be going back to work.
Yeah, that's a weekend there.
Yeah.
Woof.
Yeah, so that seems like a fun thing, and I hope that continues as well. But you guys have Tired Hands and Voodoo beer coming to your house. And
Yes.
Did they already get delivered, or is it on its way?
Yep, those two are already delivered, and I keep thinking about some other ones. Let's see. What else is delivering? I think Levity's Adurate Theory out of Virginia will deliver to PA residents. And I feel like there was another one I was thinking about. I always make carts. And then I always think about the 8 4-packs I just ordered from Voodoo and Tired Hands. And then I delete the cart. So probably soon. But yes, we ordered Voodoo through, I forget what they're calling their system, but Tired Hands is the Dudley Direct.
How'd those show up? Did it just come by FedEx, or
No.
did you have to sign?
Yes. Well, not sign. So
no contact.
No contact delivery, but I guess FedEx and UPS, but don't quote me on it. It was the email from, I think, Tired Hands said the larger carrier services won't deliver beer. So it's coming on smaller ones.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was like an unmarked van or SUV that pulls up.
this is sounding like we ordered more than
They're
just
like,
beer.
Let me see your ID. And then they hand you beer.
Yes.
That just sounds so shady.
Yes. Tired Hands was an unmarked van, and you had to be there to show your ID. We have a glass door, so we just showed the ID through the glass door. They put it down and left. they can't deliver if someone is not there with an ID. And then Voodoo is their own vehicle, and it's a green vehicle. I'll have to bring up Voodoo.
Like green color or green like good for the
I
environment?
think
Electric.
it's both. I think it might be both, but I ordered Earth Day weekend,
green.
and they included a free jalapeno starter plant with my beer
Oh,
order.
very nice.
So then I had to show my ID through the door. They called me ahead of time and asked if I wanted tomato, jalapeno, or lettuce. I said jalapeno. So they left my 4-packs and my jalapeno outside.
That's
Nice.
fantastic.
That's a lot better than somebody was offering a beer deal of 12-pack of Iron City and a bag of chips.
Oh,
That's not quite as healthy.
no.
Delivery though.
Yeah.
So how long did it take from when you placed your order to delivery to your door? How long did that usually take?
So Voodoo, I believe I placed an order on a Sunday or a Monday for the next. My zip code is a Sunday delivery point. They have Saturday zip codes and they have Sunday zip codes. So my zip code is a Sunday delivery. But depending on where you live around Pittsburgh, it's only around Pittsburgh, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on where you live in Pittsburgh, you might be a Saturday delivery. I just looked it up. Their system is called Beer Me. And so that one was by the weekend. And Tired Hands, I think, was only about a week also.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, and I got IPAs, so I'd like them to be fresher. So it was nice to see I didn't have to wait a whole month to get an IPA, so I can drink it as fresh as possible.
Right on.
Nice.
Well, speaking of IPAs, what's everybody drinking tonight? We kind of jumped right past that.
We kind of did.
Yeah. So,
Well, Steve, you never get to go first. What are you drinking?
oh, I'm drinking an IPA. That's why I kind of came to mind. So right now I'm drinking the Diehard Fans IPA by Stone. And it's a 7.7% IPA with 80 IBUs. And it's pretty much just all mosaic hops. So yeah, a very classic West Coast style IPA. And
so when you said it was a diehard fan, I assumed there was going to be a picture of the Nakatomi Tower.
yeah, unfortunately not.
That is disappointing. No Hans Gruber falling out.
Yeah, no Hans Gruber, no Samuel L. Jackson, no convoy of dump trucks with mosaic hops. But yeah, otherwise it's pretty much just a classic West Coast IPA, and it's really good.
Nice.
Nikki, Eric, what are you guys sipping on?
Well, speaking of a Voodoo beer delivery, we are drinking their Good Hops Brent by Voodoo, and this is batch number 9. So I looked it up on Untappd because there is zero information on the can, but I sent a picture to Steve. The can art is pretty excellent. I turned off the mirror. Here we go. And this is 6.6 ABV. The IBUs are not listed. It's a New England IPA brewed with rotating hops, which is why this is batch 9. Batch 9 is dry hops with Australian Vic Secret and US BRU1.
Oh, okay.
An experimental.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not bad. I like it.
Right on.
How about you, Adam?
So I surprisingly I'm going to keep this IPA train rolling.
With an Anchor
Jeepers.
Steam, right?
No, it is not the Anchor Steam. That has been retired to the second shelf of the beer fridge. But I knew you guys were going to be on it, and I had a hunch there was going to be IPAs involved, so I figured I'd bite the bullet. And I have the East End South Oakland, which is part of their neighborhood series.
Yes.
5% ABV, so nice light drinker for a day like today where it's 75 and sunny. It is made with Tulsi, which is some sort of holy basil. I know it's part of Indian culture. I don't know. They say it's supposed to have tastes of blueberries and citrus. It's not bad. Not bad. I don't hate it, which honestly is saying something.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't hate it.
You don't hate it, and you're drinking it on your own. I mean,
Yes.
nobody twisted your arm for this one, so yeah,
Yes.
good work.
Well, granted, I've got a few of the East End neighborhood series cans that came along with this one, but I'm going to save those for a nice Saturday session.
You picked those up at Creekside, right?
I did.
Did they just give you a mix, like a mixer for?
So yeah, they had pre-made mixed up 4-packs.
Oh, that's cool.
So that was they didn't have it, just one 4-pack of the South Oakland and one of the Mount Washington, et cetera, et cetera. It was one of each, and they had 2 or 3 different sets of varieties that you could grab.
I like that.
Yeah, I do too. If you guys haven't been to Creekside, it's worth a little bit of a trip.
No.
Where is it?
Swickley-ish.
Oh,
Yeah.
What do you mean worth the trip?
You
We live out.
10 minutes.
Yeah,
Quickly.
a stone's throw. You mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is this?
See, tomorrow I messaged. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on air. I don't know why not. I messaged Hitchhiker because I need that coconut cream pie.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I live out by Swickley, so I said
Creekside
hey.
definitely has some.
Oh, I asked about Robinson Giant Eagle, but Creekside would be even closer. I said, will it be at Robinson Giant Eagle? And he said Friday. So that's my only plan tomorrow. Find coconut cream pie because Abjurations was outstanding and I don't have any. So I'm hoping it's equally as good.
Yeah, if you're listening to this on a Friday, as you should, I was looking at Creekside's social media on Thursday, and they already posted that they're going to have some.
Mhm.
They put it up on Twitter, and I was like, oh, I'm going to go there. But now that Adam's also confirmed that they kind of do those mix-up 4s of the East End,
Yeah.
I have double reason now.
I'm definitely going there. So they're open right now too?
Yes. They don't have a huge selection of the local craft, but what they have is the good stuff.
Right.
They bring the ruckus for sure.
Also, I feel like, with all they post on social media, I feel like I see that they have more than like House of Brews and Robinson.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And they get some of the other breweries. Like they have a good amount of levity there.
Mhm.
They have a decent amount of shoe brew, things like that are not necessarily fully mainstream, but definitely part of the Pittsburgh craft scene.
Yeah.
They don't do in just Grist House, just Hitchhiker. They get into the other breweries as well. It's worth the jaunt out there for sure.
Eric already has it up on his phone, like queued up with the Google Maps. So can we wrap this up?
I have to get there before this episode airs. So
I
everyone
know,
else
so we're
doesn't
not
find out.
fighting people.
It's okay. Nobody listens anyway. You'll be fine. Well, let's stop talking about it. That way it'll fall out of people's heads. They won't think about it anymore. Let's move on to something else. Some pretty big news hit the airwaves. I don't know. I guess it's airwaves now because it's all Wi-Fi and internet. But Great American Beer Fest is going to be virtual this year. They've done away with doing the big event.
Yes. And they not only that, but they moved it from September to October as well.
Yeah, it's October 16th to the 17th. It's all virtual. And they don't really know what they're doing yet. But
Untappd moved their festival to virtual, and you can order. There's 2 ticket packs, and they come with 8 or 11 beers.
oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
They'll host a live where you taste your 8 to 11, and everyone's tasting the same 8 to 11 beers. I forget if it's 8 or 11, but one of the packs sounded nice. It had the one that stood out was it had pseudo Sue in it.
Ah,
Ooh, yum.
So the price tag was, I think, like $80 for the 8 to 11 beers. I forget, but it's supposed to be for 2 to 3 friends to share each beer during the live. So I don't know. There's that. So
is that still supposed to be during the June time frame? I think that's when they had it last year.
I actually think their dates might be, I have the email, I can bring it up. I think their dates might be exactly the same.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, it's supposed to be June 13th and 14th.
Ah, Flag Day, very nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm reading about it right now. It's it was going to be, it's 11 breweries. So it's like $89 and you get 11 breweries.
Yep.
Okay.
As well as a $10 gift card.
Oh, yes, that's part of it. And I think maybe a $10 credit to that company that sends out beer.
Okay.
Not to like the Untappd store.
No, it is a $10 credit to the Untappd store, and I believe a $10 credit towards, it's something like Tavor, but it's a different company that's going to ship out all their beers.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Eric and I will likely not do it, but I thought it was very neat to see this change in society and beer fests. And
Yeah.
you brought up the Great American and don't know how they're going to structure it, so maybe they'll take what Untappd tries and see if the successes and maybe the mishaps from it.
Have there been any large virtual beer fest yet? Kind of the mainstream ones. Have any of them gone through that yet?
No.
I can't think of any.
No, because like we were saying last week or the week before, the first one that's happening is coming up at the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
That Lager and Friends, because no other beer fest is really going through it yet.
Right.
So it'll be that one, and then I guess this Untappd one might be the first big one. And then, like Nikki was saying, GABF can kind of temper their feels towards that. One of the things they did mention in the press release about the GABF one, though, is they're thinking about having some sort of like local brewery activation. So like maybe you can go to a brewery or a bar and the taps will feature beers.
Ooh.
That's the way I'm kind of reading it. Don't take my word.
Yeah,
for it,
the press release that I saw got a little fuzzy towards the end.
And that's because they don't know what they're doing yet. But
Right. The way I read it as well, one of the other things was they were still going to have the professional judging.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how they're going to do that. I assume people are just going to, mail their beers in like they normally do. And they'll just have to readjust their judging.
Yeah. I think the problem they're running into that is that it's over like 100+ judges.
Mm-hmm.
So that's still probably too big of a group to gather.
Yes.
So they're, yeah. So, yeah. And they're looking at like over 7,000 entries. So that's like a logistics nightmare to get over 7,000 entries to over 100 different people. And if they're not all going to be in the same space.
All I could say is good luck.
Yeah. Good luck to them. But it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Something else I wanted to revisit. Last week we were talking about the brewery, the City Brew Tours, and their online. We were talking about how like they were doing $150 beer and wine tasting or beer and cheese pairings, and that wasn't. We got bad info. That wasn't exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
We got a little bit of bad info from an article that we took from, but the real thing is that $150 package is for 10 people and it is a corporate event. If you want to do beer and cheese pairings on your own, you can for $15 a person.
Which is much more reasonable.
Right. Way reasonable. A lot better.
Yeah. I wouldn't even be mad about that.
I would totally do a beer cheese plate for $15.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, you don't get the actual beer and cheese. You just get an invite to an online session.
Oh.
And the thing with is people from City Brew Tours, most of them have all passed the level 1 Cicerone, so they have that ability to kind of do beer and cheese pairings with their craft beer server license, so they have that ability to walk you through it. But yeah, it's better than what we were talking about last week, which was like
much better.
We thought it was $150 a person.
Yeah, we admittedly we kind of beat them up a little bit with the information that we had. Fortunately, that was false information.
Yeah, I think so.
Not fully vetted out, I'll say.
No, the article was bad information.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but Brian Hathaway from City Brew Tours reached out to us and was like, "Hey, that's not correct." And I was like, "Well, I'm sorry. Tell me what's right. Tell me what's right, because we'll say what's right."
Yeah. So shout out to him to getting a hold of us and letting us know, setting us straight.
Yes.
We're not perfect. We try, but we're not.
But yeah, so that's just another online thing, though, as everything seems to move online. Mm-hmm. And I'm okay with it because I don't really give a shit. I don't love crowds to begin with, so I don't care.
And hey, if a beer fest can come to me, I think the idea of sending beers is really cool, because one of the worst anxieties I get about beer fest is how will I get home?
Yes.
Yeah. I want to enjoy my time out, but that also means I can't safely drive. How much is an Uber going to cost? Which is why Pittsburgh Beer Fest, you know what? It's a great event they do, but no one wants to drive me home a half hour away, or I'm paying an arm and a leg. And then luckily, Eric's poor father, shout out to him, he drives me home from the Mad Mex Brew Fiesta. But if the beer fest can come to me, that's one less thing I have to be stressed about. I just have to make it to my bed upstairs. And
right.
even if I don't make it to my bed upstairs, at least I'm safely inside.
So yeah, thinking about that, let's revisit the price point on that Untappd. It's $90 and you get 11 beers. So that works out to about $8 a beer, more or less, in and around that.
Right. And I assume those are full-size beers.
Yeah, it's full-size beers, and they're likely things that you're not going to be able to get in your local market because, like Nikki said, Pseudo Sue was part of that package. It's not something terribly available here, but we can get it at Vintage sometimes.
Yeah, they listed like 5 spoiler beers for each pack. And they don't seem bad. Pseudo Sue is the one that really stuck out to me, though one of them was banana macadamia fudge cake by Decadent. Sounds pretty awesome.
That does sound awesome. But I am severely allergic to bananas.
You don't know if it's severe.
I'm still alive, so I guess it's mild. It's a mild allergy.
Do not let him stay on the air. He's still with us.
It's fine. It's fine for now.
You can try that one?
No, because I can't drive you to an ER. First off, I don't know if they'll take you. Secondly, I will be drinking a delicious Imperial Stout.
I don't know, that Untappd one sounds not too bad.
No.
Like it's kind of expensive, but it's something exciting to look forward to.
Right.
I don't know.
Being stuck at home.
We're not doing a lot right now.
We're always looking for something fun.
Yeah, so I mean, it appears like there's an online stream involved with it as well, so you get a little bit of content that way. And as you said, if you're not paying for an Uber, that cuts your costs.
Mm-hmm.
So,
it all kind of equals out, really.
Is there a special badge for it too?
I'm sure there's got to be.
Oh, absolutely. Untappd already has a badge in the works for that day. And now I'm going to sign up because I need that badge. Give me my credit card. Sign me up.
So reading this presser here, you get beer from Allagash, Burlington, Decadent, Fiddlehead, Finback, Industrial Arts, McKellar, Oxbow, Single Cut, Sloop, and Toppling Goliath, which would be the Pseudo Sue. So aside from Single Cut, Decadent, and Allagash, we don't really get any of those.
Mm-mm.
So that for a Pennsylvania person, that's not terrible.
And looking at the Decadent, it's an Imperial Stout. Looking at the Allagash, it's a Belgian triple. So
You're
even
getting
the
some
ones-
high octane stuff too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
even the ones we can get, those are some pretty cool beers.
Yeah.
I'm just really surprised that Decadent is bringing out a beer that isn't an IPA. I don't think I've ever seen a Decadent Stout before.
I've seen them.
I've never seen one before.
Like I have.
It's always like marshmallow and something IPA.
Oh yes, they always
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
like marshmallow things.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
I've-
it's always dessert time IPAs.
Yeah. Or dessert time stouts. It's all dessert time at Decadent. That's in the name.
Right, exactly.
I'm pretty sure I've seen a coconut macaroon stout at one point. I didn't buy it, but
Ooh,
I seen it.
that does sound good though. I drink that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of the news and the goings ons. I just thought that was interesting as we're getting more and more online with our drinking. But
No,
And
I
I-
think all that's neat.
I'm curious, going back to the Great American Beer Fest and Untappd, I wonder how much of that was internal decisions and how much of that was being driven by government decisions. Like say the governor of Colorado or the governor of North Carolina saying, "Hey, these aren't going to happen through the end of the year." Period. I don't know if they've gotten out that far yet.
I think it's good. I think it's a little column A, a little column B, because you got to think about Great American Beer Fest being thousands of people descending on Colorado from all over the world.
Right.
That is an epicenter if I've ever heard of one.
Right.
And you know what? The Brewers Association doesn't want to be that first event that re-sparks a second wave.
Right.
Don't be that guy.
Let it be the Super Bowl or something stupid like that.
Right. And
Don't
you don't
draw-
want it, even if just a few cases, you don't want to be known as, well, this is the event where my friend got
Right.
it again, or I got it again. And then does that tarnish your reputation? So
Exactly. Craft beer's got enough problems as it is. So don't be the one that like sparks a second wave or something. Don't be that.
Yeah.
I really feel like the Brewers Association had it on their mind already of like, man, we can't hurt the industry with this. We got to find something better.
Yep, totally agree.
Didn't need to be told by the government. But then again, you think who's in the government? John Hickenlooper, who has been the
He
governor.
would be a
of
good guy to have in that position for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a past governor. He's had association with beer, so yeah, he probably is a little close with those people as well.
Mhm.
So,
Right
Nikki, just a quick question, since we're talking about that on a national level, on a local level with a little beer tasting group, obviously things are kind of put on hold indefinitely.
Yes.
I know that we've had at least one bingo night. Are there any plans for anything more in the future with that?
So we have had a bingo night, and I thought it was a success. I thought it was really fun, and then I spent the whole next day delivering goodies in the rain. But Tom and I do have some prizes. We had a certain amount, and we actually split it in half with the idea that we would already have a second event, because it didn't seem like we would be able to meet in person as quickly as we hoped. So Tom and I will have to coordinate a day. May kind of disappeared. I don't know if anyone else knew it's already the end of May, but it is. And who'd have known? It just kind of flew by. I swear just a second ago it was like March 17th and we weren't in quarantine.
I mean, it did snow a week and a half ago, so
Right,
That
yeah.
is- I don't
definitely
know
got
what
the
day
works.
it is. But yes, Tom and I let May kind of fly away. But probably in June, look for emails, follow us on social medias.
Okay.
And bingo night was free to attend. And we had some pretty neat prizes. Some stuff from First Sip, stuff from, I think we had a Fueled by Hops glass. We bought Patrick's gift cards to not only help Patrick's Pub, but also that was a prize. Shout out to Patrick's. Also, I think they're doing to-go cocktails coming up soon.
Excellent.
So I will be looking out for those. Oh, also, last time I was with you guys, I don't know if it was on the air, but you guys told me not to sleep on North Country Sours.
Mhm.
And Patrick's had a 4-pack of this blueberry cobbler one. Amazing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely amazing.
It was good.
So thank you for telling me North Country Sours are good, because
Yeah.
I would have just totally passed it up.
Hey, North Country, if you're listening, when are you delivering?
When are you delivering? I'll give you my address for the shout out. You're welcome.
That might be like a thing where you have to go meet him at the Grove City outlets and do a trade-off or something.
I've done more for less.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's. If you're thinking about joining our little tasting group, just don't forget to jump on a littletasting.com. They can sign up for the email on that site, can't they?
Yep.
Yeah. So you
Yep.
can get your
Well-
emails for when the next event is.
Yep, everything we're doing is communicated through our newsletter that you can sign up for on our website. We also have an Instagram, a little beer tasting. I've been posting all my beer deliveries that have been coming in. And then we have a Facebook, and that also has my beer deliveries, but also Tom's been doing unboxings by First Sip Brew Box, and things are happening. Follow us, a little beer tasting group.
Right on.
Right.
Cool. Well, jumping back to everybody's IPAs, how are they treating everyone?
Not
Again,
bad. Yeah, not bad.
It is a good IPA day. It's nice out. We have the windows open. So I think it tastes even better because of how nice today is.
Ours is very hoppy. It's fruity, but it has that other taste. I wonder if that's that BRU1 hop
Yeah.
that I'm not used to. Not bad though.
A little bitter at the end, but
Yeah.
I like that out of an IPA. Not all just orange juice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll say the same thing about mine. It's a little bit fruity, but it's super bitter on the back end. Like, Adam would hate this, but
I think Adam would hate mine too.
Fortunately for me, I don't hate this one that I'm drinking right now.
Yay!
brah.
And now that it's kind of worked its way through the glass a little bit, warmed up a little bit, I'm actually starting to taste a little hint of the blueberry that they were talking about in the description. So that does exist. That actually is in there. Because at first I couldn't find it.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. It's there. So yeah, not bad. Not bad.
Cool. Well, I think that's going to do it for segment 1. And we're going to come back. Segment 2, we'll get into episode 6 of Brews Brothers. And I think everybody has lots of thoughts on this episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is good, because otherwise we wouldn't have anything to talk about.
No.
The show may be bad, but at least it isn't boring. So let's take a break and we'll be right back. Welcome back to episode 155 of the Hop Nation USA podcast. I'm still here with co-host Adam.
Of course.
And we have Nikki and Eric. Nikki, of course, head of a little beer tasting group, along
Nice.
with Tom. And they're returning guests here to talk about beer and also talk about Netflix's awful show. But we'll
Not
start
even
with,
going to sugarcoat it anymore.
But we'll start with beer. So what has everybody grabbed a new one for the second segment of the episode?
Yep.
What are you guys drinking then?
We have a Duke of Bakefordshire by who makes this?
Sorry, I went to go clean the can.
I was reading her phone and then she swiped and then it was gone. It's by
Sorry.
State Fair Brewing Cooperative out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's a 12% stout that is pecan pie inspired pastry stout with whole pecans and maple syrup and vanilla.
Dang,
It
that
is
sounds fantastic.
boozy tasting, but great like aftertaste of the vanilla and the
Yeah.
pecans.
I opened a piece of chocolate with it, and it goes very well together.
Nice.
Do you guys say pecans or pecans?
Pecan.
I think I go with pecan as well.
Yeah.
Is it different depending on what you're talking about? Like sometimes, like you say, like pecan pie, but then like the pecan sandy is the cookie. I don't know.
I think those are the only two opportunities beyond just talking about pecans.
Eric is just trying to avoid talking about Brews Brothers.
Fair enough.
Seats their own then.
Let's talk more about pecans.
You know, to be fair, I might actually say pecan sandy simply because it's the double A sound that sounds better together.
Yeah.
So I might actually say it that way. But, Adam, what are you drinking?
I'm still continuing on the East End, South Oakland. It's an IPA, so it takes me a little bit longer to get through it, to be
Okay.
honest. But
Okay.
then I must clarify a little bit. Earlier, I said it was part of the neighborhood series. It's technically the You Are Here series, is what they're calling their overarching 90 neighborhood series.
Yeah.
So
I feel like most people
Yeah.
know it colloquially as the neighborhood series.
Yeah. But if we're gonna be right, we got to be right.
You just made somebody's day in Herndon, Virginia.
Oh hell!
They're clarified now. So if they happen to travel,
Yeah.
they know what to ask for properly.
That's true.
So I've moved on, and I have a new beer, and we were talking about Tom, who co-runs a little tasting with Nikki, and I actually traded Tom for a beer. We went stout for stout. I gave him one of those Collective Arts, all the things nightmare ice cream beers that I really enjoyed. And he gave me this beer, which is from Insurrection Aleworks, and it's called Just Like Mom Used to Make. It's an 8.5% stout with chocolate chip cookie dough.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yes. It's I don't get much like cookie dough wise, but it has a real strong chocolate bitter back end.
Mhm.
That's very similar to like if you just took a handful of chocolate chips and shoved them into your mouth before like eating them or melting them or anything.
See, I want to laugh at that, but I've totally done that while sitting at my
We all
desk at
know
home.
exactly what that tastes like.
So, yeah, I'm living that life right now.
Yeah. But yeah, very solid stout. Very dark, as you can see from the picture. There's actually a black logo on that glass. But
Oh,
you
wow.
can't, yeah. You can't see it because the stout is that dark. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I thought this one was pretty dark.
But yeah, that's also pretty damn dark.
People put it up in post.
Yeah.
But I actually think so. It's been a while, but I'm pretty sure my stout I'm drinking is also from Tom.
Oh,
I believe it was a birthday present. So we are both drinking Tom stouts. And
well, there's Tom.
also, shout out to Tom. He's making a barrel-aged beer right now.
Mhm.
And he said he'll just keep it in the barrel during quarantine. So I don't know how strong it's going to get.
It'll just all evaporate. It'll
He just
be
said-
like a couple cups worth of syrup.
I said, hey, if it turns out like 6 ounces we have to share among 12 people, so be it. We will
Worth it.
drink it.
Because you know what, Tom? It's going to be good no matter what.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
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 Yeah, well, Adam and I were actually there on that brew day. We were there when it went into the barrel. So,
Oh, yep.
yeah.
When was that? So it's still in there.
That was January,
January?
February.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Because
It was cold. I know
snowing.
that.
It was cold and snowing, so.
I saw him the other day. I had a wine-making crisis. I started a wine and then realized I don't have a 6-gallon carboy.
Mm-mm.
So I had a wine crisis, and luckily I live down the street from Tom, who's, you know, his whole garage is just a brewery, and he told me that he's just keeping it in the barrel. And I said, good for you.
Yeah.
Just let it ride.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. Is it a full size, like, giant barrel?
No. Yeah, I think it's like,
I think it's a
smaller?
10-gallon.
yeah,
I
10.
think it's 10.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a 10-gallon because he split 2 5-gallon carboys from the batch.
Yes.
So, yeah, it was a 10-gallon batch. And I think he originally said he was going to debut it at one of the little tasting events. But then he's like, well, those aren't happening
Well,
live. So,
I still think that's his plan, so that's why he's
yeah.
leaving it in there.
That'll be an Uber night.
In 20 years, when we can meet at Stevens again, Tom will have a syrup for us to share.
Everybody gets one little eyedropper drop of it.
Bloop.
Yes.
All
All
right.
right. I think we've put this off long enough.
Yeah. Time to move on. Time to move on to the unfortunate show.
Episode 6.
Episode 6 of Brews Brothers. Netflix's bad investment. Netflix's bad investment. I mean, they have a lot of them, but this is also one. Netflix has a lot of garbage.
If you've already seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, you need something else to watch.
Yeah.
So.
Right. So we'll recap this episode, and then we'll get into Nikki and Eric's experiences, because you guys actually started the series because of me. So
Yeah,
that's
thanks.
Also, can I just let everyone know, I started the series and I immediately sent a dumpster on fire as a picture to Steve.
yes.
5 minutes in.
We really 5 minutes in, and I already knew this is a dumpster fire. And
Now I
Steve
know
needs
this
to know
exists.
right now that this is a dumpster fire. So no, go on, recap.
No, it was
No,
nice
my
to know
God.
that you didn't feel too differently from me. So
I don't know anybody who thinks differently on this one. Everybody I've talked to is not impressed.
Ryan and Sam kind of like it, but
I thought they were kind of being generous.
Mhm.
maybe. Ryan and Sam kind of like it. I've actually seen some support on Facebook, but not on Twitter. Definitely not on Twitter. But yeah, so to recap episode 6, this week's episode is all about bottling versus canning. And the 2 Brews Brothers are arguing as to whether or not they should put it into bottles or cans.
Oh, of course.
And that's the plot of the episode. It's it's fine. It's a decent plot for an episode, but again, this show is poorly written and everything sucks. So
Right. I think there is a valid debate to be had about bottling and canning. And I think, I'm sorry if I'm talking too soon into your recap, but
no,
I
that
think
was it.
Okay. That's all they need to know.
Yeah.
I think they brought up valid points about, the second fermentation happening in a bottle and how successfully can it happen in a can. But the way the show presented it was just dumpster fire.
Yes.
No, it's bad.
Okay.
It's nowhere near as bad as
Episode
the
1.
first episode. Oh my god.
It has gotten better.
The
Yeah.
first episode was so bad, but you see that even with excellent TV shows.
Yeah.
The
Mhm.
first episode of Firefly.
Garbage.
It's terrible.
Firefly's amazing.
Like, you
Don't bad
hate
talk
all
it.
the characters. Like, no one's funny. You don't care about anyone. But then episode 2 and the whole rest of the seasons are great. But this,
It went from horrible to just still bad.
by
That's-
now,
yeah.
you keep watching it, though.
No,
Like,
Eric can watch it without.
you guys watch 6 episodes of this, and now I feel like I'm invested enough to
I'm
keep
not.
watching.
You gotta make those last 2 laps. You gotta
Yeah.
finish it up.
I won't lose an ounce of sleep.
No,
about this.
I need to know what happens.
Yeah. If it wasn't for me setting this out and saying we're going to do it for the podcast, I would have quit at episode 1 as well.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. But I think the one thing is like episode 1 and 2 were so terrible, and they were like over the top awful. Because episode 2 was just all PP stuff. Like, and that was so like abysmal. But like now the show's actually just kind of boring.
Yeah.
Like they try to be edgy, but like the edgy jokes don't work because they're both delivered wrong and they don't make sense and they're not funny.
Yep.
And they're still not likable.
Yeah.
No.
It's 6 episodes in, and I still have no vested interest in any of them.
Eric and I
Yeah.
had to IMDb the names of the characters because we didn't think we'd remember any of them.
Chewie.
Not even the actors, but the characters themselves.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
actual characters.
I could only remember Chewie, and then we had to look him up.
Yeah, we had to look them up to prep ourselves to just talk about how awful it is. I don't know. I think there is humor to be had in the craft beer industry, and I think there's stories to be told in the craft beer industry, especially in the service industry. You see so many movies and shows that are successful that relate to people in the service industry, bartenders and servers, and this show can't relate to any of them, I feel like.
Mm-mm.
As someone that has bartended, served, and loves craft beer, I didn't relate to any character. I didn't relate to any storyline in all 6 episodes. So they're just doing a bad job, and there is stories to be told in beer, and oh god. Oh, our episode. Oh
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah, but I think you're right, Nikki, is in one of the ways all of those like storylines usually relate to people is also relating through bad customers.
Mm-hmm.
Like those kind of stories take advantage of making customers unlikable, and that way you root for the servers in some way.
Yeah.
But this show like rarely ever does that.
I think my favorite character are the 2 founders. Like the 2 founders.
Yes.
And then
Yeah,
their picture that's 100 pounds lighter.
Right.
He's like, put in your order for insulin now.
And,
Those are my favorite characters.
and that was kind of amusing in this episode, in that the 2 founders, for those who haven't been following, are 2 guys that bought in early to the brewery and now can
$5
drink for life, for free. And in this episode, they're using exercise bands to work out in the bar to do their action. Yeah. That was kind of amusing.
So I'm going to bring something up here that I just noticed now that I'm looking at the screenshot that you have up, Steve. The beer list in the background. The third one from the bottom, Vice Power.
Oh, holy shit. I just did not see that either.
Yeah.
Wow. Good,
Yeah.
good eyes.
Okay, wow. So, yeah, good eye Adam. And that's
Yeah.
really bad.
That is really bad. I don't know what to do with that information. I just know that that's bad.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, we had that discussion last week of how, like, they had changed the tap list to be less sexual in nature. But yeah, I think that one's a brand new addition to the tap list this week because I didn't see it last week.
Yeah, but I'm able to read through some of them, and not all of them are sexual or bad things like that. Because there's one up there that's the late checkout Pilsner. You know
Right.
what? That's a fine name.
Right.
You can see that in any brewery.
Right. Yeah,
But
the
then
late
they
checkout.
throw those stinkers out there.
They throw Vice Power in. That's,
Right.
Ugh. So yeah, the kind of B story in this episode is that the dildo shop down the way that is for celebrities only is getting a new shipment of dildos, and so they meet a new character whose name I do not remember.
I don't either.
Laszlo.
Okay.
Oh. Well,
Yeah.
looks like somebody looked up
I
the
looked up
characters
all the
before this
names.
show started.
Excuse me, bring them up on the board.
Also, we watched it like a half hour.
A half
before this
hour.
started.
Oh.
Well, we started it 2 days ago when I
Yeah.
sent you the dumpster fire, but
Mhm.
I was not willing to watch all of them.
That's fine.
So,
I don't.
it was Laszlo. His name was on the box. And
Okay.
then I do like all the art humor names they made for him. I don't remember any of them at this point, but they kept making Picasso and Salvador Dali jokes, but
Mm.
about sexual
Right.
toys.
Which that also reminds me to go back to the beginning of the episode. The beginning of the episode where they're bowling the kegs. They recognize Laszlo and they say, "Oh, is he a celebrity?" Because he's at the celebrity dildo shop, which
Mhm.
prompts Adam to start naming "quote unquote" famous brewers,
Yes.
and he
Yeah.
starts with the brewer from Lagunitas. And that's not to say he's not a famous brewer or anything, but that seemed totally out of character because Adam doesn't respect anybody.
No.
So why, of anybody, would he pick the brewer from Lagunitas as somebody he recognizes as a celebrity?
Right. That seemed like complete fan service, or as close as you could get to fan service.
I feel like Lagunitas is known for their IPA, and what does he say? The first or second episode, IPAs are for brewers that don't know what to make anymore, or something like that.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
got kicked out of that thing, and I feel like Lagunitas is when you think of Lagunitas, you think of Lagunitas IPA.
Mhm,
At least
definitely.
I do.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just something that stuck out to me because it plays against Adam's character as a beer snob, but also lends to his character as somebody else has pointed out that he isn't a beer snob. He's just the representation of Facebook, of craft beer Facebook, because he'll get off on the brewer from Lagunitas, but he'll shit on everybody else.
Mhm.
And then he also thinks his beer is the best anyway. So yeah, I don't know. His character is still, I don't know, not good.
No.
I feel if that was the direction they were trying to take to, represent Facebook as a whole, there had to be a better way to do it than one of the main four characters of this show. I feel that would have been much better represented on a more of a secondary character.
Customer.
A frequent customer that goes on Untappd a lot and
Right.
is on their high horse a lot. He isn't likable, and I don't know. I don't know anyone that I've met in the craft beer industry that is like him. So I don't know where they are basing this character off of that is that extreme. And
Yeah. Just because he's too much of a mishmash of different things. And we've talked about it a lot before. If he was for German purity laws, that would make sense. That he was against every other kind of beer. If he was for other things, it's just too much of a mishmash of not understanding beer, which is why we say he's like the Facebook of beer.
yeah.
There's too much. It's too many, incongruous thoughts that he holds.
It's like they try to make him the Sheldon of the series,
Mhm.
but he's not. He's just him, pro himself.
Yeah.
Not.
I think
In a
they
funny,
were
likable
trying
way.
to
Yeah.
take the average beer drinker and make fun of the beer snobs out there, but I can be pretty beer snobby. So
Right.
are you coming at me? Because like how you're saying it's a mashup of Eric. When you say it's a mashup of things, like some of the things, I'm like, is that me?
Right.
Did I mashup in him? Am I not like the blue collar beer drinker? Because at times I am, but at times I'm the truffle beer drinker.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's a kind of a failing on the writing, but it was just another interesting thing that popped up in my mind. I was just like, oh, why does he recognize these people as, top tier? So
no, I didn't even think of that, but it is weird of him to do that.
Yeah. And speaking of not recognizing beer things,
damn it! If you, I know exactly where you're going, and I'm pissed about it too.
yeah, the other side of this episode is workers in a beer distribution facility not recognizing terminology of beer.
Right.
And so we get into the edgy humor of this episode, and that's where Adam and Wilhelm are having an argument over the beer, and they are referring to a Belgian quad as a quad. A man in a wheelchair overhears the argument and gets offended because he thinks they're making fun of him, calling him a quad, saying that they don't like quads. Haha, hijinks. Later in the episode, it's revealed that this guy is the head of the canning distribution center.
In Los Angeles, California.
Right. How do you work in California in a beer distribution canning center and not know Belgian quads are a thing?
No, it was very unrealistic. I think it was their like attempt at situational humor. I didn't find it funny. If anything, it just like caused stress of like, come on, he would know.
Right.
And you're just trying to make a plot twist, and like it's making me feel uncomfortable because like it's a joke about, and it's not a joke about disabilities, but it's your plot twist trying to like go on disabilities when like the guy would obviously know about a Belgian quad.
Yeah.
And I think they grasp for straws there, and I don't know. I hated that whole part of the plot.
It felt like it was trying to be a Curb Your Enthusiasm moment, but like it had to be explained to me too much. Like it wasn't immediately obvious what was happening in this situation until like the whole thing happened. I was like, oh, okay.
Right, and I think part of that explanation is I've never heard anybody call somebody in a wheelchair a quad in a derogatory way.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
So they had to invent that
And
to make it fit with beer terminology.
They had to invent a can distribution center that also doesn't know about Belgian quads, which are, I would say, one of the biggest Belgian imports.
Also, they had to invent a condition where if you cough, you pass out.
Just so Chewy can be in a chair and make the situation worse, which was already grasping for straws to stay alive. And it was this joke that didn't die, should have died in the writer's room, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And I knew the second that Chewy passed out and he put him in the chair and that guy turned the corner, that's where the joke was going, and I hated it even more.
Yeah.
I hated the joke even more.
Just to jump back for a second, though, they didn't invent that condition. It does exist.
Ooh.
Oh.
So
I apologize.
Hold on, guys.
Sorry.
We're all apologizing today.
So
my own ignorance.
Yeah. So the condition we're talking about though is called cough syncope, and that's where you get a coughing fit, and then it can lead to you passing out. Yeah. So
it's not just one cough and you pass out.
Yeah, it's usually a coughing fit, but there's actually also a brewer, and I believe he's in Tennessee, and he works for the company Fainting Goat Brewery, and he has a condition where laughing will actually make him pass out.
Oh.
Yeah. We've talked about that in a past episode. So you did know that, Adam. You just forgot.
So I don't. We've done 150 plus episodes. A couple of things are going to go through the cracks.
I know it's a fun bit though. Every time Adam has a goldfish brain of just like, I didn't know that. No, you did at some point.
I didn't retain it, and I'm okay with that.
Don't make fun of his condition.
Thank you. We just went over this.
Goldfish brain isn't a real condition.
Until I get to Wikipedia.
Yeah.
I'll get that entry taken care of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I see that whole part of the plot.
And apparently Los Angeles only has one can distributor.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody else wants to be in that business.
Yeah.
And they can't go to, San Diego or any.
Well, how else would they have bottled their beers in glass dildos
Yeah.
if that wasn't the plot?
Which brings us to the final points of the episode. They had to lose the canning facility because of that guy who thought he was being made fun of for his condition, so they had to go to the bottles. And the bottles are all
I hated that part.
How did they get approval from their parents?
I don't know.
Or are they actually
Money.
adults?
I don't know.
That might be an adult.
I hated that. And then literally when Wilhelm was like, well, we're never going to forget that, I thought, I'm never going to forget that. And I blame you.
So Adam, for those listening at home, do you want to explain what the picture is?
No, not at all. Like 0%.
I'll explain it. So the denouement of this episode is because they lose the canning, they go to bottles. And they need bottles on the quick. And the dildo guy from before just happens to have a bunch of hollowed out glass dildos for whatever reason. because the script said so. And they have to bottle on the quick. And Chewy says that a bunch of his guys can come help. Chewy's guys are a youth soccer team. And he brings in a bunch of children way under the age of 18 to bottle beer into glass dildos. And at one point, one of these children, for no reason at all, decides to shake the bottle up, and he sprays himself, giving himself a money shot, to the horror of everybody around.
Yeah.
Including
And
those of
everyone
us that
watching.
watched it.
Yes, and everyone watching. The show sucks so bad.
It was the eye roll I had during this scene was bad. It was bad.
It was so convoluted to get to the image that we have up on our video right now.
It's like that was the goal. Like
Right.
they started with that idea.
And then wrote backwards.
In the writer's room, someone sketched that on the board, was like, everyone,
We need to make this happen.
how do we get here? And they're like, I have it. The guy that owns the only canning place in LA is also a quadriplegic, and they talk about Belgian quads. Boom. Plot done. Oh, so bad, guys.
Yeah, it was so convoluted to get to that, because even just the kid picking it up and shaking it in his face doesn't make any sense. Like, why would he do that? And why would nobody stop him? Because you can see in the photo, Wilhelm
behind him.
Yeah, Wilhelm and Sarah are right behind him. They didn't stop him from doing that. They just watched it happen.
That was probably take like 9 or 10. They're like, no, Wilhelm, get closer. Sarah, you guys have to be in the frame. Get closer to the
Right.
Remember where your paychecks come from.
Child, shake it again.
Netflix wants you to do this.
It's not funny if we don't see you react to it.
Oh.
It was bad.
2 more episodes.
Yeah.
2 more episodes.
Yeah.
Guess what we're watching after this?
Hey, hell no.
So we will invite you back to do
All
this,
right.
do the series wrap
Yes.
up. I believe we're going to do the 2 episodes, and then we're going to have a big episode at the very end with everybody on that's been on the past, and we'll get final thoughts on everybody's thoughts on the season.
And then start a petition for season 2.
No.
Right.
No. A change.org. Oh, it's so bad. That image, take it off the screen.
So nerds have nothing else to, they have no Snyder Cut to beg for anymore. So maybe they'll just beg for season 2 of this.
Yeah.
I'm going to put this out there right now. If season 2 exists, I will not be part of any review on this show.
Yes, you will. Shut up.
No.
It's your job.
Nope. My job. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, my paycheck depends on it, huh?
Yeah, it does.
No, not happening.
Wait, you guys aren't sponsored by Netflix for these episodes?
Fortunately not, no.
You're just doing this.
I don't think Netflix sponsors people to talk bad about their product.
All right, I take everything back. 10 out of 10.
Yeah. If you're not already subscribed to Netflix, you should do that just for this show.
Yeah, there's plenty of things on Netflix that are good, like Border Town and the IT crowd's on there.
Oh,
The
IT
Office.
Oh, I didn't know that was on Netflix.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
fantastic.
Is
Yep.
Community on there now?
Community's on there now.
Nice.
One
Plenty-
of the best shows.
Plenty of good things.
But no, we have to watch this instead.
Yeah.
I know.
Thanks, guys.
I don't know. I'll just like watch Stranger Things and you guys watch season 2 and we'll just talk about those two things.
It's just warming up. They're getting there.
It's so bad. But I will say it's better than episode 1. But that is like episode 1 was a 2% audience rating from me.
Yeah.
And episode 2 through 6 was a max 12% audience rating.
I will give them props that it's actually in a brewery. Like they show brewing process and actual equipment. Like it's not just a set that they talk about things. I don't know what brewery that is, but they actually film there.
Yeah. It's Iron Triangle. We learned that last week.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So,
That's what the smeller guy.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's that brewery.
Yeah. So yeah, that's actually Iron Triangle. But yeah, thanks for coming on, guys. If you have anything you want to plug, like a little beer tasting, go ahead and plug that again.
Okay. Come check us out. We have a Facebook and Instagram, a little beer tasting group. And if you follow us there, you'll get our next virtual bingo, trivia, something with prizes, because I have prizes still to give. So join us. It's free. If you live out of Pittsburgh, I may not be able to get your prize to you as easily. But if you live within Pittsburgh, I just kind of did a big old route and delivered prizes. So coming out with us. And then as of right now, we have a picnic in August. As of right now, we have a picnic in August. And then also we meet monthly at Patrick's for a tasting as soon as Patrick's is allowed to serve food inside and also accommodate a group as large as ours for a tasting. So follow us for more information when we start tasting again.
Right on.
We look forward to it if and when it happens.
Yeah. We'll get back to it eventually.
Yeah.
But, if you want to follow us on social media, all you have to do is search Hop Nation USA, and that'll get you Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And if you want to listen to brand new episodes of the Hop Nation USA podcast every Friday, as you should, then search Hop Nation USA on your favorite podcatcher, like Stitcher, Podbean, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts, and every other thing that ends in cast. We're on them all. We're also on YouTube with the video elements. You can see what we're laughing at and how terrible everything is. And if you're on any of those platforms, leave a 5-star review because
We are a 6-star show, but they only let us use 5.
and that's more illegal than child money shots in a brewery. God, I hate that show.
2 more weeks, Steve. 2 more weeks.
Yeah. Yep. Well, 3.
Well, 2 weeks of episodes.
2 weeks of
episodes that
episodes.
we have to deal with.
Yeah. It can't get much worse.
You say that.
I'm pretty sure it
You know-
can't. I'm pretty sure it can't. They've expended everything.
All
They've,
right. Let's.
aside, I mean, even though you did find vice power on the chalkboard, they haven't got into racism too hard yet. So
Let's
I
keep
imagine
it that way.
So I imagine that's one of the next two. It's
Oh,
probably
great.
racism. Probably going to hit some racism.
That'll be a treat.
Hooray!
All right, Op Nation. I think it's about that time.
Okay. Bye-bye. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Wash your hands.
Don't touch your face.